Jerry in Virginia. Hi, Jerry.
It's Terry.
Terry, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Correct. Eddie, I like your new show, except ask the editors to not, when they flash up the information, they'll put up a little information about what's going on in the scene or whatever. They take it down too fast. You don't get a chance to read it.
Oh, on the TV show on Access, right? Yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah. Well, that's where the pause button comes into play, I guess, Jerry or Terry. But use the pause button.
All right. Second thing, really loved that metal show.
Thank you.
That was great. Now, with that said, you've got a lot of knowledge and understanding the music industry and a lot of connection, et cetera, et cetera. With that said, I've been a musician, going on 40 years. God, I'm getting old. Anyway, I have witnessed in my lifetime the changes in music from the genres, from the early 60s, Stones, Beatles, on progressing as it evolved through the Woodstock era and the peace era and anti-war, and then into the 70s, from folk into rock, and then into the, I hate to say it, long hair rock in the 80s. Forgive me. Anyway, but here we are in the 21st century, and music doesn't seem to have anywhere to go. Look what's happened with country. Country's now country pop, in my opinion, and it's trying to find a new way to make country fresh. Well, country western is what country western is. You just can't change it, but people are trying to. So you kind of like what you were saying a few minutes ago about going to some of these concerts, and it's a blend of different types of music. I don't see where rock's got anywhere to go anymore. That's why so many people look backwards. With that being said, we have a generation of kids growing up now. They have no idea what the full picture of music and how it's evolved over the years. All they have is what they hear and see now. And that's kind of lacking. There's an idea for you, but, in your spare time.
Well, I'm not sure if I follow you, Terry. Like, I think that what's happening right now with rock music is pretty interesting and pretty exciting, because what rock is, if you're talking about rock, and I'm not talking about metal, I'm talking about rock, hard rock.
Right.
What's happening is a lot of it is channeling what went on in the 70s. A lot of it is very reminiscent of the old sounds. One of the biggest bands, newer bands by far, is Greta Van Fleet, and they are a direct sound of Led Zeppelin, and they're doing unbelievable business. Rival Sons, who I love, now with their 6th record out, really starting to do well, and that's a total old school sound. The Struts, who I love, sound totally like a Queen meets Mott the Hoople meets T-Rex sort of hybrid. So the newer, younger bands are going back to the roots of rock music, where it's very riff, guitar, bass, drum, great vocals, great melodies. I love what's happening right now in the rock world and the rock landscape as far as on the newer scene. Whether it all breaks through or not, or how well it does, I don't know. Then on the other side, I think on the metal end of things, metal has gotten way more extreme. And I think that metal has gotten, for me, the newer metal is not, the newer rock I'm really into. The newer metal, not so much, because a lot of the newer metal, for my ears, loses melody, loses vocals, and I have to have that sort of stuff to be excited about it. So I think it's an interesting time. Here's another thing as well that plays into everything, Terry. And,
what's that?
And thank you for your call. I'm going to run, but I'll give you one other one. Talking about, and I never thought about this until just this weekend at this Hangout Festival, when I shoot these episodes of Trunk Fest. And by the way, the second season is going to start on Access TV on July 7th. That's when the new season premieres. So if you want to mark your calendars, I'd appreciate that. I think they're still showing season 1 episodes Wednesday nights, every Wednesday at 7 Eastern. But I didn't think of this, and this didn't even dawn on me until just over this past weekend. Putting yourself in a younger person's shoes of what music is now. The entire relationship that people have with music now is completely different than it was when I grew up, depending upon how old you are when you grew up. So if you are, I don't know, 30 or older, say, roughly, you know the connection and the importance of new music and when it came out. You know how special it was to go to the record store that day your favorite new record came out and get it. You were a fan of these bands. You cared about who was in the bands. You cared about their new records. You lined up to get them. Concert tickets, the same deal. You slept overnight outside waiting for the store to open so you could be the first in line to get those tickets out of the computer. All of that is now gone. Sure, there's still some record stores, and long may they live. To me, I still insist on getting my favorite new music on CD. But most people's relationship to music is not like that. I mean, my kids are 15 and 11. They have Apple Music accounts. Anything they dream of that they want to hear, you click and you hear it. And certainly people, like I said, probably 29-ish under, their perspective on the importance of music and new music is completely different. We grew up where it was appointment to go to the store to get it. So the whole value of it is seen in a completely different way by younger people. And here's something else when you talk about some of this stuff crossing over and becoming a big blender where a lot of people are a lot more open and into different genres of music. Because music now is so readily available in so many ways to everybody. Essentially, if you have a cell phone, even if you don't have any music streaming services, even if you don't have SiriusXM, even if you don't have any music delivery services that you pay for, if you have a cell phone and access to the internet, you can pretty much hear just about any song you could think of. Even if it's on YouTube, whatever. So if you are a younger person and that's how you get your music, you can literally pull up anything you want and listen to it. So the downside of this enormous change that we've seen in the last 20 years in music and the way people consume it and buy it, or even if they do buy it or listen to it, the downside is it's destroyed, I think, people's relationship and value for it. It's destroyed for the most part, the whole infrastructure of what record labels were, and it's destroyed the revenue, which to some degrees is starting to come back, but nowhere close to what it was for selling music to artists. The upside is you literally have any song you can think of at your fingertips, a click away in your pocket. And that's really interesting when you think about it, because with that sort of access, with that sort of availability to such a wide range of music, the likelihood of younger people being into all genres is a lot higher. Because back in the day, the only way you could hear music is if your local radio station played it, and radio is formatted. There's all different formats, but it's rock, pop, country, hip-hop, whatever, jazz. Or if you went to the store and bought a bunch of different records and sampled them. Most people aren't going to do that. It was too expensive. It's not worth it. Now, you can literally pull up anything. So to younger people, they can sample anything that they want musically. And that may feed into them being not just a rock fan, but also a fan of, I like rock, I like hip hop, I like EDM, I like jazz. I don't know. To me, no, that's not me. It's got to be rock or I have no interest. But because of the world today and the accessibility of music, the future generations, I think, are much more likely to be into a wider net of music because it's so much easier to be exposed to it, to sample it, and to discover it. And that's why maybe some of these really mixed and really eclectic bills with music festivals work also. I don't know. But I thought about this, and the reason why it came up this weekend is I interviewed at this Hangout Festival for the show a band called Judah and the Lion. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't know much about them until I interviewed them. But nice guys. But they play a really eclectic mix. Like, there's bluegrass in their music, there's rock, there's elements of dance, there's all sorts of stuff. One kid plays a banjo. And I got into this discussion with them. I said, it's amazing that you've found an audience, and they have a very big audience that's open to all these styles of music you're throwing at them. And we all talked about it a little bit. Well, you know what? That could be a byproduct of this era we're in music delivery, the streaming world. It's really fascinating if you think about it. If you are between 30 and 60 years old, you know what I'm talking about. You remember, that day that record came out, you ran to the mall. You couldn't wait to open that cellophane. Put it on the turntable, put it in your CD player, put it in your cassette player. I mean, the whole juice of that went away a while ago, and it kind of sucks. Because that made you really bonded to that music. It wasn't just a click of a mouse. Oh, let me hear it. You saved your money. You had to have it. You took it. You filed it away with the other one. With the rest of your library. So it's a whole different world. And I think that all trickles into festivals and what we're seeing and how these things are being put together and everything else. It's an interesting dialogue. It really is.